All right, man, peace. You know, brothers, the scriptures tell us to be as wise as serpents and as harmless as doves. It tells us in Proverbs 15:1 that a soft answer turneth away wrath. It tells us in Proverbs 18:6 that a fool's lips enter into contention and his mouth calleth for strokes. What does that mean? Oftentimes, a simpleton will get involved in a confrontation that is unnecessary, an altercation that could have been avoided. And so many times in the so-called black community, we try to normalize dysfunction. We try to make ourselves and other people believe that this is just a natural part of life, to get into dumb shit. And the reason why I'm bringing all this up is because I saw a story on the news the other day, and those notions, those sentiments resonated with me. A couple of young females on the bus who decided that they wanted to pet another person's service dog without her permission. Of course, she became very upset and she told them not to pet her dog. And they decided, instead of apologizing to the woman because of the perceived disrespect or the disrespect per se, that infraction, and just moving along with their day, they wanted to ratchet up the dialogue with more and more antipathy. And it led to disastrous results for one of the females. So, of course, they're going to talk about it and I'm going to chime in.
Out of a violent confrontation on a city bus. It started when a woman tried to pet a dog and ended with her getting slashed in the face.
Let me say this very quick, brothers, and I'm sure most of you guys know this already. People love their dogs. People look at their dogs like their children. There are people who love their dogs more than their human family members, okay? So when you decide to put your hand on somebody else's dog, somebody that you don't know, number one, you could get bit by that dog. And you would really not be within the right to get upset with the owner of the dog because you moved in to pet that person's dog without their permission. Beyond that, it's almost like petting somebody's child. Like, who are you to put your hands on another person's property, whether it be their body, their child, or their animal, without their permission? It's just stupid. Even beyond being disrespectful, it's just stupid. And it can precipitate something that you really don't want. It could precipitate a fight, an argument, a waste of your time. How about just walking by and saying, nice dog, pretty dog, oh, you have a cute child, and keeping it moving? But instead, we're going to see what happens. And this happens a lot in certain areas where you have certain types of people who are not imbued with a certain level of respect by their parents. That's why it's very, very important. That's why I make these videos about the so-called black man protecting his seed. One of the ways that we protect our children is by teaching them to respect themselves and respect others. By saying please and thank you and excuse me. These things oftentimes will help them avoid disastrous situations. There are people who are dead in prison because they didn't say excuse me or I'm sorry. And that's just real talk.
Tonight, that victim spoke with CBS 2's Valerie Castro as police now search for the attacker.
The slashes across the face of this 20...
Now look at this broad, brothers. Her damn forehead looked like ripped up newspaper. Was it worth it? Was it worth petting this person's dog without her permission? Now got your damn forehead looking like a catcher's mitt.
22-year-old woman are painful to even look at. She says the pain itself is excruciating.
My face is hurting. Everything is just a blur to me right now.
Your face is hurting. Is your face hurting as much as your tongue was when you got those two studs pierced into it? Once again, brothers, and I just did a video about this, the only thing that you're allowed to pierce, or your lady is allowed to pierce, that's if you follow according to the scriptures, are your ears or your nose. That's it.
Police sources say the victim got into an argument with this woman on a BX19 MTA bus.
In other words, she got into an argument with a woman who was not fucking around.
Along 149th Street near Morris Avenue in the Bronx, when she reached out to pet the woman's service dog.
Along 149th Street and Morris Avenue in the Bronx, aka Don't Fuck With Me Boulevard.
When I went to go touch it, she got mad. So we ended up having a conflict, going back and forth, arguing.
Hey brothers, you hear that? She said that when she touched the dog, the owner of the dog got mad. At that point, that's when you say, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. I didn't mean to offend you. Have a wonderful day. You know what that does? That allows you to move along to your destination without dumb shit. What did this female say? After the person who owned the dog got upset with her for touching her dog, she says they got into an argument. Now, why would you get into an argument for touching somebody else's property who does not want you to touch their property unless you feel entitled, or unless you're somebody who thought that you had an easy win if the situation were to escalate because you said to yourself, I got my homegirl here and this woman is older and she don't really want none of this drama. That's what you thought. That's why you never ever underestimate anybody. You never know what's going on in somebody's mind or their spirit. You never know when you mess with somebody who just don't give a fuck. And there are people like that out here. I know plenty of people who carry blades or box cutters on them, and they look like the nicest person in the world. They're like somebody's grandma.
The victim admits the woman set her off with some choice words and things got out of control.
I went to go.
The woman set you off with some choice words like what? Don't touch my dog? Or bitch, don't touch my dog? Even if she said it like that, I have news for you. That's like her child. And let me say this about a service dog, for those of you who don't know, or service animal. Service animals are protected. A service animal oftentimes is given to somebody who's suffering from some type of traumatic issue or mental issue. I won't say psychological disorder, but you have many police officers, you have soldiers who are returning home from Iraq or Afghanistan who are given service animals because it assists them in regards to having something that will help them forget some of the situations and scenarios that they were placed in during combat or during stressful situations. A lot of people don't grasp that. When you see that an animal is a service animal, that animal is off limits. Okay? So I hope that you brothers, if you're in your daily comings and goings and you see one of those dogs that have the collar on it or that have the protector on it, denoting that it's a service animal, don't pet that dog. You really shouldn't be petting anybody else's dog that you don't know anyway. But when you're dealing with a service animal, it's more likely than not that the owner is somebody who has been through some type of psychologically stressful situation in their life, and they need that animal for psychological support. So that means what? That person might snap on you.
Go leave the bus because I was going to where I was going, and then she just did something that got me aggravated, so I went back to her and...
You stepped to her because you wanted that rah-rah, and she sliced your face open like a cantaloupe.
And once I grabbed her...
You grabbed her, so in other words, you attacked her, so you got what you deserved.
By her coat, she went to go hit me when I hit her. I don't know, we ended up going to the floor.
You don't know. In other words, she defended herself, and she sliced your ass open.
Floor, and everything just went black from there.
No, everything went red.
Got my face sliced, and that was it.
The victim was left with 4 different slashes, including the 2 that dissect her right eyebrow. In the surveillance
Dissected it like a frog.
video, you see her run across the street to Lincoln Hospital after the assault with a friend by her side. This video, released by police, shows the suspect with her dog in her arms.
Chilling. She's chilling. Like she's trying to take her hat off, probably trying to change her description.
She flags down a green taxi and leaves the scene. Police are still looking for her. Police sources say the victim's friend was also slashed in the arm.
No, she was not the victim. She actually was the attacker. She just lost.
When she tried to intervene.
No, her friend was not trying to intervene. Her friend was trying to jump in. And she got some of that dissection perfection as well. That's what her ass got. It is what it is. You jumped in because you saw that your friend was getting sliced up and your ass got sliced up too. If you were a real friend, you would have told her, don't pet that woman's dog, and you would have apologized to the woman for your friend, and the both of you would have went about your business. But the real issue is that neither one of them were given any home training as children. So they were never taught how to diffuse a silly situation like that never should have occurred in the first place.
In the Melrose section of the Bronx, Valerie Castro, CBS 2 News.
All right, so brothers, here's the continuation of the case. Let's see what transpired.
New tonight, the woman accused of slashing 2 other women on an MTA bus says they attacked her.
Of course they did. As a matter of fact, the person who got slashed pretty much stated that she and her friend tried to attack this woman because they were upset that she did not respond how they thought she would respond to them petting her dog.
First,
people get very, very emotional over animals and children, especially animals. They believe that they have the right to pet somebody else's dog, and you do not have the right to pet their dog, especially when it is a service animal. That is very important that brothers understand that. You have a class of service animal called an emotional support animal. And when you're dealing with an emotional support animal, that's an issue. Once again, a lot of military people, they have emotional support animals because they've been through very traumatic situations. I have no idea why this female here has an emotional support animal, but that tells you right there that she's a powder keg. But she was not the person who initiated the altercation.
what Officers escorted Shkima Young from the 40 precinct station house in Mott Haven after her arrest.
Miss Shakima Young says, sorry for what, I'm innocent. Let me rewind this back a little bit.
New tonight, the woman accused of slashing 2 other women on an MTA bus says they attacked her first.
I agree with you, ma'am. Don't apologize for a damn thing. You didn't do anything. They're going to make a big show of it, trying to arrest you. All you did was protect yourself. The person who got her face slashed, she said the same thing as you're saying. She decided she wanted to ratchet it up, and you ended it. It is what it is.
Officers escorted Shkima Young from the 40 precinct station house in Mott Haven after her arrest. Investigators.
Once again, a fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth calleth for strokes. When you get your ass whipped because you wanted to step to somebody over something that's unnecessary, don't marvel when you end up getting laid out or, God forbid, getting killed. Once again, brothers, life is a series of obstacles. It's a series of stumbling blocks. We have to learn how to navigate. There are major stumbling blocks that we come across in life. Little minor shit, we have to know how to deal with those situations and diffuse them very quickly. Because most shit is minor shit at the end of the day. We have to be as wise as serpents, as harmless as doves.
Investigators say the confrontation started yesterday when the 2 women tried to pet Young's dog. Police say Young slashed one woman on the forehead, the other on the arm. Those women were seen tonight.
Those so-called women, i.e. lesbians who thought that they were tough and they wanted to step to that female. Look at the black one. That's the butch in the relationship.
Walking into the station house, Young's dog was also seen.
Why am I bringing that up? Because oftentimes lesbians, especially lesbians from the hood, they're very, very confrontational. They sweat it, they so tough. And oftentimes they're the ones who end up running to the cops when somebody lays their asses out. It's very unfortunate. I'm not somebody advocating violence in any way, shape, or form. But when you decide that you're going to run up on somebody, whether you're man or woman, you have to expect that they're going to reciprocate. You cannot expect that you're going to try to hover over somebody and intimidate them and nothing's going to happen. You never know what somebody has on them, whether it's a blade, box cutter, or a gun.
Young is facing multiple charges of assault and criminal possession of a weapon.
But anyway, that's basically it on that, brothers. To me, this was a pretty cut and dry situation. Certain things to me are just about what level of sense you were imbued with from a child, how you were raised, what you were taught. Most people are just not going to get it because if you've gone through your entire life being disrespectful, it's very difficult to teach a 25, 30, 35-year-old person who's been disrespectful their whole life how to be respectful. Normally, they have to learn the hard way, either getting stabbed, shot, slashed, or what have you. They have to learn that way. Hopefully, brothers will navigate life in a way that shows that they're shrewd and that they have discernment. So peace.